Hi, my name is Lisa Martin. I am the mother of a child with special needs. He has Fragile X syndrome. In many respects, he has been my teacher. He has made me be a more caring, compassionate, better human being. What we have learned together on our journey, I have realised the difficulties and challenges that parents of special needs children face are wide and varied. During my years of facilitating courses for parents and professionals, I have met some wonderful people who have shared with me their stories of great joy and sadness, who have experienced the good, the bad and the ugly of all aspects of life bringing up their special children. I am passionate about empowering parents who are dedicated in helping their children with additional needs. You're invited to my podcast. I will be talking about all things in our special world of disability and additional needs. I will be interviewing other parents of children with special needs, as well as professionals and people in the community who are offering services that help. Sometimes these podcasts might touch an emotional nerve and upset you. Other times they might fill you with joy and empower you. I don't mean to make you angry or upset, but we need to get a wider audience listening and talking about disability. Only when this happens, I believe disability won't be feared as it is today. Hello, my name's Lisa Martin, and I'd like to welcome Martin. Hello,
Hi.
Martin. So let's start with a bit of your background. So you've got ASD as well, haven't you, Martin?
I have.
But tell us more about your ASD and when you were diagnosed. And
I got diagnosed I think about 5-6 years ago, when I was going through diagnosis and test and learning how to deal with my two boys who've got Asperger's and ASD. And it was I do that, that's me, and that's when I went through our doctors to have a test. It's then when they came back and said I would have been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome as a child, if from what my mum had put and I put. But I've also got frontal lobe damage from an accident I had when I was 15, which I knew I had the accident, but I didn't know I had frontal lobe damage until about 7 years ago, and I thought I was going around the bend.
wow, tell me more about that. How does that affect you, the frontal lobe damage, on top of the autism as well?
It cures some of my autistic tendencies, and the fact is, after I got run over, I knew I suddenly became more talkative because the frontal lobe stops my inhibitions.
Right, that's interesting.
And the way my psychologist explained it is, most people have sort of a metal inhibitions, sort of carb block of it. I've got mine's made of tissue paper. So if I get overstimulated, I start saying everything comes out, and that's quite difficult.
Yeah. So we were talking about that earlier, and you said it's like having an accelerator. So some certain situations that you find yourself in, you can either be catapulted in one direction or the opposite.
Yeah.
So when you get catapulted on the emotional side, because you said the frontal lobe also, you have emotional control, don't you?
Yeah, it controls my emotions,
Yeah.
my thought processing, problem solving, and the inhibitions. It controls all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And if I put my foot on the accelerator, I can either be really happy and, as my wife would say, Tigger on speed, or I can go easy the same way, put myself in a really dark place from something simple.
Yeah.
And I overthink it, and I've put my foot on, gone the other way.
Yeah.
And people have with help of my psychologist, we realised sometimes if I'm down, I do put my foot on the accelerator to cheer myself up. So pushing myself into that happy, excitable place when actually I'm not there, and that is quite dangerous because I've got full. Because really, it was all it is hiding.
Right.
It's
yeah,
not.
it's like
I've
masking,
made
isn't it?
myself happy. I've sort of like a drug in a way that the blow is going to be a hell of a lot worse than it would have been if I'd dealt with what the problem was at the time.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds really scary. That must make you feel scared as well of which way it's going to go.
It's constantly thinking about. Now I try to stop. I feel I have to think and. So, no, that's not this. This is this, and plan, which I quite like planning. So that's sort of I can win sometimes.
And is that the ASD side?
I love to plan.
Yeah.
And organise.
Okay.
Though my organisation skills are strange, and no one else can understand why I've done it that way, but it works for me.
Oh well, that's the main thing, isn't it?
If I do a spreadsheet at work, they find it really might have the most complicated all the way round. But I can trust the answer it gets at the bottom.
Brilliant.
And then eventually I will take bits out to get it so it's quicker.
Yeah.
Whereas some people will go A to B and get C. I'll go A, B, F to get back to C.
Yeah.
But then I know C's correct.
Brilliant. Yeah.
So that just makes me who I am, but it's taken me a long time to like myself.
Has it? Yeah. Because what you've just explained to me, it sounds a bit like bipolar, isn't it? And I think this is where we were talking earlier, and you were saying somebody, was it your wife who thought that as well?
Yeah.
And then when you started investigating the frontal lobe, it's actually frontal lobe damage, isn't it? And it's not bipolar at all.
No, and that's what from what my wife was saying, it makes sense to be bipolar, but it's not. It's the frontal lobe. The wiring's gone a bit knackered, but now I know that, I don't think I'm going around the bend.
Yeah.
I know it affects my memory, and the more stress I get, the worse it gets. I have more control over things if I'm not anxious and not stressed.
Yeah.
But it's very hard in my life to keep it from being anxious and stressed.
Well, of course, because you've got 2 children who are also on the spectrum, haven't you? And that brings its own stress on a daily basis as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I know myself, being a parent of a child with additional needs, we have to deal with a lot more stressful things that happen on a daily basis. So yeah, let's talk about Stephen.
Yeah, he's my oldest. He's 26. He's got Asperger's. He was diagnosed at 12, which is the wrong time to be diagnosed. We knew, he's my stepson, and from an early age we knew something was wrong. We'd go, he'd bite, we'd go on, he didn't want to do things, he'd smear poo. He was very good at it, especially in in holiday places where you don't have toilet cleaners.
Oh no, that must have been challenging.
That was fun.
Yeah.
And we went through, because we finally got some help, but it was, first of all, it's because I was his stepdad. But I said he knows no different. So were they
thinking it was like emotional behavioural stuff?
But he never knew anything really different.
Yeah.
We've got an amazing relationship with his dad. Always have done.
Oh, that's great.
As far as Stephen's always concerned, he's got 2 dads.
Oh, that's lovely.
So we are
twice as nice.
Yeah, he's very, and I know we are very, very lucky with that.
Yeah.
Because I've got friends that haven't got children with additional needs, but they don't speak to the ex, and it causes we are very lucky. I've always, that's been one of the helpful things.
That's a blessing. Yeah.
But he had an awful time through school. When he did his GCSEs, he had a nervous breakdown. He did his GCSEs in the home and hospital unit, rather than at school. But he got his C's, was able to go back into 6th form. They didn't want him back. he struggled, and then he only did 1 year of ASs, and then went to college. He passed that, and then went to uni.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a
it
good
was hard.
ending. Because you were saying to me earlier, when he got the diagnosis at 12, he was in complete denial, wasn't he? And wasn't he blaming everyone around him?
Everyone around him.
Yeah.
He's no different than anyone else. Wouldn't do any of the SEN stuff, and he was very, very difficult with it. And he was, when he was at uni, he did start. It was uni, but probably when he did start talking to people and getting additional help.
Right. Okay.
And I think that was sort of the turning point on the understanding of his issues and problems and things.
Yeah, because I suppose he had to go through the grieving process in a sense, didn't he? And the first part of any grieving process is denial.
Yeah.
So he was in complete denial. I haven't got this. And then he started slowly but surely. Then he came through the anger bit. Yeah. And then the guilt. And, because we all go through all of these different stages, and they're all at different times for different people.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way. It's quite... Yeah. And his younger brother was diagnosed with ASD, who is very challenging. He could see himself in that, and I think that's upset him. Yeah. And made him more anti. Yeah. Because you're watching someone do something you do. Yeah. Or you have to stop it. So if you can stop it, why can't he? Because my youngest is a lot worse than my eldest on the spectrum. Or not worse, but he's more challenged by autism. Mm. And I think it's just watching someone is very difficult when you... And as you start to realise, you understand it, but if you're still going through puberties, which Stephen was, that must be really difficult, because I'm still doing it now, watching with my sons, thinking, that's how I feel. And I'm in my 40s, and it's...
That must be really difficult for you to be able to have what your children have got, and understand it, and understand why they're doing something. And how does that make you feel?
Guilty.
Yeah.
I blame myself for my... Well, I can't blame myself for Stephen's autism, because he's not genetically for me. And from Will, it is hard when you see what he's doing and you can sort of understand why. And then you feel guilty because it's come from you, and it's not... And it's not your fault. I know it's not your fault, my fault. But it's still there. I don't care what anyone says, you always carry the guilt that it's come from you. Yeah.
I understand that, because the Fragile X gene has came from me, in Iggy, and I get that, because even though the reality, I know it's not my fault and it's predestined maybe, and it is how it is, I can't change it, but you're absolutely right. And it's if I'm having a bad day, I'll blame myself even more. If I'm having a good day, then I don't blame myself and don't feel as guilty, but it's always sitting there. Yeah. It's always ready to jump out at me.
It's one of those little demons that sit all... And that little demon can fire the other ones off.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's, I think, quite a powerful one, because it's... I think my wife would agree it's in her family as well. And then you feel... And she says, you both... It's come from us. No, it's come from mine. And in a way, you argue it's... Because you argue who... And it doesn't matter where it's come from.
Let's just deal with the here and now.
But you still feel... And it's not just on autism. Because my brother's got diabetes. And my mum's side is riddled now with diabetes. And my mum's the carrier.
Right. Okay.
And she has always blamed herself.
Oh, yeah.
Because she is the carrier.
Yeah.
And you just think it's not bloody fair.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what we tend to do. We all go through that feeling, don't we? It is hard. So Stephen now, he's got his own child, so you're a granddaddy.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It's lovely. She's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, she's 2.5. And as a parent of autistic children, you constantly look for the signs.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem sometimes. We are constantly looking for the signs. And then other people use that as a weapon.
Yeah.
Say that you're looking for it. But I really believe in early intervention. So if there are signs, if we catch things right, you can, by parenting skills and things, you can make autism so much easier.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. You can join us if you want to. Yeah, no, it's absolutely fine.
Yeah. You can
Yeah, early intervention is key. Yeah, because when I was looking into Iggy's diagnosis, because it took 2 years for me to get Iggy's diagnosis, there was actually, I kept hearing in America this early intervention, and I was like, what is this early intervention? How do I get it? Where do I get it from? But you need the diagnosis first.
Yeah.
Because they don't give you nothing, do they?
No, and if it's with anything, if you do things early enough, makes big differences. Because as soon as you get into patterns, it's very hard to break a pattern.
Yeah, it is.
It is, and that comes from being a person that makes patterns,
Yeah.
and a person that's trying to stop watching my children do those patterns.
Yeah.
It's like being scared of spiders. I'm petrified of spiders, and I know I've given it to my son because he saw my behaviour with a spider.
Because he's modelling your behaviour. Yeah, that makes complete sense.
And I can see that, and I fight that now when I'm with my granddaughter, because I don't want to pass the scaredness of spiders.
Yeah.
Because they can't hurt. Well, the ones in this country can't hurt you.
Yeah.
And it's the same in a way with some of the autistic tendencies. If you do it right, if you're really severe, yes, you can't, but you can still make it better. You can make so much better if you get things planned and worked in. My son had, the youngest had early intervention, and he would have been in residential school if we hadn't had the early intervention. It was still rocking, we had some really bad stages, but I am still thankful for the team that helped us with the early intervention, picture cards when he was little, using some of the autistic tendencies to our benefit.
When you say rocking, did he used to rock to self-regulate?
No, I didn't mean to say rocking if I did say rocking.
Oh, did you?
Some of this sort of autistic tendency, it was, I said it was rocky, the whole thing was rocky.
Oh, rocky, like, the rocky road.
Sorry. But, like, using picture symbols, it made such a difference with him and he uses that. He doesn't use them.
The visual support?
Yeah, he doesn't need them anymore. But he's a very visual learner. Yeah. Even now, so it makes a big difference.
Yeah, massive difference. Yeah.
It really does, and I'm really passionate about, because my oldest not having the early stuff. I've seen how he went, and he was a little more able. Yeah. So you've got to. It just makes difference. So I'm a real advocate of that, and that's where we watch our little granddaughter to check that. And I think she has got tendencies, but I believe as long as she's parented correctly and things are watched and looked after, she won't need a diagnosis.
Yeah, that makes sense. And have you spoke about your feelings about looking out for early signs with Stephen? What does he think?
Yeah,
because he didn't want to accept it, did he?
Yeah,
So what do you think about
I'm not sure. We're very careful.
Right, yeah, I was going to say, because that must be really challenging.
Yeah, because
for you.
I don't think he'd want. Because as a parent, it's really hard to be told there's something wrong with your child.
Yeah, it is, very.
And because of his Asperger's, I don't. If we've got a concern, we mention it, but at the moment it's more just checking a few things, putting everything in a row.
Yeah, that. Did she do that?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
Playing, she doesn't really play, but we're actually helping her play. We've built. Well, she's got a Wendy house in my mum's garden, which we use as shop.
Yeah, so you're
So we're
teaching her
teaching her
imaginative play.
Teaching her how to make coffee,
Yeah.
bake vegetables, and we already can see that she's now more interactive with you like that.
That's brilliant. Sounds like you're doing a great job.
So thank you. And also it could be learnt behaviour as well, because all the men in her life, her dad, her uncle, her grandpa, are all autistic.
Right, yeah.
So she knows no different.
Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it? So you were also telling me that due to your accident with the frontal lobe damage, that gave you epilepsy as well, on top
Yeah.
of everything else.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
That was horrible, because I was having fits when I was 18 and didn't know why. And it took quite a long time to figure out what was going on. I lost a job because of it. It was just... That was horrible. That was... I don't black out. I sort of come above myself, but you can't
Right.
stop yourself.
So when you say you come above yourself, so it's almost like you feel yourself leave.
Yeah.
Can you see
I can
yourself?
see what I'm doing,
Right.
but I cannot stop myself.
Okay.
And it's just horrible. But I can tell you what, it's one of the greatest stress reliefs going. It's the bizarre, when after a fit, you feel absolutely knackered. I mean, totally and utterly knackered. And I haven't had fit for a very decades. So many decades I haven't had a fit because I'm not controlled of my tablets. But I can still remember the feeling afterwards of being knackered, but you feel cleansed.
Oh, wow.
It is.
I've never been told that before after an epilepsy
Well,
episode.
with mine, it's just...
That's interesting.
You just feel just totally cleansed. You feel every bit of stress is gone. And I could sleep for a day afterwards. Well, not literally, but I would sleep for hours afterwards because you're just
Just drained.
drained. But it's not got a bad come down. If you know what I mean, it's if you could say, if there is a positive of having a fit, that was it.
Right, I see.
But
Okay.
it's not, the fits weren't nice, and I don't like that, and I don't.
And the being out of control.
Yeah,
must be really
I hated
scary.
it. So
Yeah.
it was very scary. My dog at the time, we had a dog, and I had a fit, and that was just, he just didn't know what to do. It was the poor fella. He picked up on when I started to have one quicker than I could ever do it at first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he knew.
Yeah.
He knew. And
Some of the therapy dogs that I've seen videos of work with children with epilepsy, and they pick it up as well.
Yeah,
Some of these dogs are amazingly trained, aren't they?
and I think it's in their nature. I think and that's quite powerful in a way.
Yeah, he was looking out for you.
Yeah, and I'm a quite advocate of using dogs with children with autism, because we had a dog we bought him for Will to help Will, the youngest, but it was my eldest that used him the most to talk to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's lovely.
And that was, he could tell him anything.
Yeah. It's having a proper buddy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because when you think for autism, the not understanding the social aspect of a relationship, a lot of demands put on you, the not understanding the expectations that are put on you, and you don't know what to expect, how they're going to act. You can't see the what's going to happen from a situation when you've got autism, can you? But with a dog, all of that's taken away. Yeah. So it must make it so much easier.
It is so much. It didn't work with Will. It worked with the other one. That's why I think autism people have an idea what autism is, and it's not what they think. It was not what I thought.
Yeah.
And when our youngest was diagnosed, I thought, oh, this will be okay. We're doing it with one. No bloody fear. They're two totally different.
Completely different, yeah.
Completely different. And it is, some things will help other people. So there's no answer that fits all.
Yeah.
And that's really...
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can manipulate and use that covers most areas, but you cannot teach autism caring from a book.
No, definitely not. I think you're absolutely right. And not only with let's say, if you've met somebody with autism, you've met one person with autism.
Yeah.
You know, because we're all unique and we're all different individuals. And just because you're on the spectrum, you might have a few things that are similarities, but you're you. And your child is them. And then your younger one is them.
Yeah, you've got life learnt skills, you've got other disabilities that come along.
Yeah, comorbidities.
It's very can make your sons very, very loving on one hand. It can also make them very, very angry on the other hand.
Yeah.
But it's part of them who they are.
And
it's
their experiences as well.
I am who I am because of my autism and now my frontal damage. And it took me a long time to actually like who I am. I mean, a long time. And I'm only just now starting to like myself.
Oh, you're so lovely, Martin. That breaks my heart to hear that, because, you know, I'm sure everyone who meets you thinks you're great. But then for you to just start realising that for yourself, that's heartbreaking.
It was hard.
But you're getting there now, which is brilliant.
I wouldn't say I think I'm wonderful or anything, but I actually think I do my best.
And you're a good guy. You're one of the good ones.
Thank you. I have my issues and things, but
don't we all? You know, you're doing a great job.
Thank you. And I'm not perfect, and I don't have to be perfect, and that's the bit that I find the hardest.
Yeah.
I don't have to be perfect.
No. Yeah, I know what you mean, actually.
And I think that is the autistic tendency that I really hate.
Okay.
Because I have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Because if it's not 100%, it's not right.
Okay.
Black and white.
And that trying to reach perfection all the time, well, it's unreachable because it doesn't exist really, does it?
No.
It's just in your own head, isn't it? And that's a difficult one to have, because if you're always trying to reach for something that doesn't really exist, it's infinite, isn't it? You just can't ever get there.
And so you're always getting a fall, and you're always building up the fact that you're no good.
Ah.
And I believe there is a tendency. I really do, because I can see it in my kids as well, and I can see it in me.
Okay.
It's very much that if we're trying to be black and white, and everything's got to look like this, we can't do it. Because we've got too many factors. We can't make it that way because we can't control everything.
Yeah. Do you think it's the anxiety what makes you try and control everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's hard, isn't it?
Because I want to make sure that my family, that we're always happy, that we have a picture perfect life, that Christmas is all the bows and
the lights and the tinsel
and not trying to kill each other with the Christmas presents.
But you know what? I think every family goes through these same ideas as well. So what about your two boys? Did they get on?
They're getting better.
Tell me about that, because they're very different, aren't they?
They are very different. There is 10 years between them as well, which I think makes a difference. They are very different types of people. Their autism is different my youngest has got learning difficulties as well, I think, so it makes it harder, but as youngsters they just didn't get on. And I do believe some of it was because my eldest could see in my youngest bits he didn't like about himself, and if he can control it, why can't the younger one do it? They're getting there. They're very protective, I would say, of anyone else against them.
Yeah.
Then
so they fight each other's corner.
I would think.
But then they fight each other.
Yeah. I don't think they never go down the pub together. I don't think they will ever have that relationship, because I think there's too many things that make them uncomfortable.
Okay.
But my granddaughter has helped so much, because my youngest is an amazing uncle.
Oh, is he?
He is just an amazing. He is fantastic with young children. He's strict, but compassionate as much as he can be compassionate. Compassionate's part of the role. He's not totally strict. He's not like an old school mistress, but he knows the rules. He uses the things that work for him. Rewards, which is quite funny. I'm sure he thinks my granddaughter's a bit dog sometimes. She gets a biscuit if she does as she's told. But she absolutely worships him.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's really lovely to see, and that's helped with his relationship with his brother, because his brother's seen how much.
Yeah. So that's brought them a bit closer. That's nice.
And with the other granddaughter, who's only 11 weeks, on the other from his sister.
And this is from your daughter.
Yeah.
And she's neurotypical.
She's neurotypical. She has anxiety issues.
How do you think it's been for her growing up, having to being in the middle as well of?
She's had to grow up very quickly, and sometimes I think it's been absolute hell for her. She was in the middle. She had to grow up to look after both of them. But I think she's one of these carers. Yeah. So she automatically wanted to look after them, even as though her brother's older than her.
Yeah.
And she's a very caring person. And we kick ourselves because we didn't realise that she had learning delay. That it took a little processing delay. It was only picked up in school in their just before GCSEs.
Right.
And we kick ourselves, but to be honest.
You had so much going on, didn't you, Martin?
She was a lot better than the other two, so you don't.
That's completely understandable. But sometimes being a parent of one child with additional needs, it's just about surviving on a daily basis. So I can't imagine having two, and then with your own challenges as well, it's been tough at times, hasn't it?
It's not been a walk in the park.
Yeah, but you're all doing a great job.
Thank you. And she's a lovely. She now works with autistic children.
Does she?
Yeah.
Oh,
she's
lovely.
A TA with autistic children. She's got this little girl of 11 weeks old, who is beautiful. Is lovely.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
She can't half scream at night, but she has got one hell of a pair of lungs. But even we watched it earlier with her uncle, the same uncle of the other, my youngest son, she just idolises him already. She just coos at him.
Oh.
He got the first smile.
Did he? Oh, I bet he was really pleased with that.
And he's a big lad. He's a big lad. But he's so gentle and caring, and
that must be lovely for you to see that as well, because he had moments of getting a bit violent with you, didn't he?
He was.
Do you mind sharing a little bit about that, of how that made you feel?
It was really hard, actually.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Being hurt by your own child is, I think, one of the worst things that can happen. It's not the worst, but it's one of the worst things that can happen to a parent, because you're giving all this love and all you're getting back is anger.
Yeah.
And it's not them, and you know it's not them, because they're beside themselves afterwards.
Yeah.
But it is really hard.
It breaks your heart, doesn't it?
It does, and it's not
because it's almost like whatever you try and do, it isn't working. And
it's really difficult, because if it's not just the physical, it's the words.
Yeah. Very hurtful.
Very hurtful, and for some reason, he was very good at finding the things that really hurt.
Pushy buttons.
Oh God, he could have done a GCS in that. He'd fly. He was, and it really did hurt, and I know it hurt him. I know it.
And it's difficult not to take it personally, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because when it's happening, you think they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah, it's.
But actually, it's their anxiety, isn't it? And I think you think he's got PDA as well, don't you? Which is pathological demand avoidance, for anybody who doesn't know what that is.
And I think with that on top, it just. And usually, I was the one that got it all, because he'd had several things that had gone on during the day, and he was trying to hold it together.
So was he masking at school?
Yeah.
So he was masking, and it's like the little shake of the cork of the bottle, isn't it? And then another little shake, and then another little shake, and then he gets home, and poof. But that's where he feels safe.
Yeah, and it is, and I know. It's because he loves you. I said, yeah, I know, and I know that, but it's still really hard. I mean, we had some wonderful work, absolutely wonderful work we had with him, and from a woman that worked really hard with my wife and my son, and it was very hard and harrowing for him. He had to listen to some things and work on some stuff, and it was difficult, and I would never want to see anyone go through that again, but it helped so much. He hasn't hit me for, God, I'm sure it's 3 to 4 years.
Oh, wow.
And the words have got a lot better. We've been working with him with his issues and sometimes he can tell us when it's going to be, and I back off. I go and not disappear, but I keep out the way.
Yeah.
And we've got strategies in, because they haven't disappeared. His issues haven't disappeared. A lot of things are still there, but it's tiring. Yeah. Very, very tiring, but we work really hard on all the strategies and everything, time consuming.
Who was it that worked with your wife?
It was a youth offending team person.
You're right, okay.
And she was brilliant. Yeah. Absolutely, she was.
Didn't she teach your child and your wife some strategies? What type of strategies was it?
She just sort of told him exactly what the law was.
Oh, right, okay.
Went through the law with him.
Right.
And explained to him how that makes people feel and that sort of thing. It was harrowing, but it worked.
Brilliant.
It really worked, and he was beside himself. He didn't, and that's when I get upset with people when they sort of look at kids when they're going off on one in a shop.
Yeah.
And if that was my child, he wouldn't be doing that. I wouldn't let him get away with that. Well, you come and have a go, because it's not what you think.
Yeah.
It's probably not what set him off. It's probably something because he couldn't do something everyone else could do in school,
Yeah.
and he's built that up and come home.
Yeah.
And but it worked, and it was hard for him, and he never wants to do that again, and I know he doesn't, because he says when he gets upset, I don't need that again. I don't.
Doesn't make him feel good about
and he's
himself,
very.
does he?
His self-esteem isn't good,
Yeah.
and why is it all of us with autism, etc. I think it's not. I can't read everyone's minds, but we all seem to have very low self-esteem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so do the
It is
carers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard.
We are very hard at taking compliments.
Yeah.
And we've got all low self-esteem, and we just keep getting given more and more to take on.
Yeah.
I get it's very difficult.
It is.
It's very rewarding at times. It is. It's
Yeah.
seeing my son get married last year.
Oh, I bet
was
that was
lovely. When he passed his graduation at uni, that was lovely. Bloody hell, I rang him every day to make sure he got up for uni, because he couldn't do it.
It's the celebrations. We've got to really
You've got to hold on to
them celebrations, and they might be the small things to neuro-typical families.
It's just the little sayings sometimes. It's my son, when he sees his niece throwing a tantrum, 2-year-old throws tantrums, and he says, mine were worse than that, weren't they? I said, yeah, she's got no chance. She's not going to win. And that's when you think, actually, he's taken on board a bit.
Yeah.
You know he's...
Yeah.
And it is. And when your daughter wants to work with children with autism, because...
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well done to her, because it's a tough job as well. And she's had all the experience of growing up with her brothers, and getting back to Will as well, because he went to a really fantastic school that you were telling me about earlier. That's really...
He's still in that school.
Is he in the same school? Brilliant.
They've been amazing. It's a small school, it's a small unit. It's linked to a mainstream, but on a different site.
Okay.
And they treat the children as their own, as a child, as a person. So it's very linked to their abilities.
Yeah.
Each child's abilities.
Yeah. Which is how it should be.
Yeah, and yes, they're still taught in a class of 7, which is a fantastic class size. But it's amazing. I can still remember the first year we went. When he did his first year, and we went it wasn't a parents' evening. It was a celebration day, and we went to see. And every one of those boys had not just gone up a grade; they jumped a whole level.
Wow!
Every single one of them, and they had some very interesting boys, and it's just carried on that way. They are amazing. They built trust back in. Will hated school because of his last school, who was he called it his devil school. His school before, hated it. It was a disaster.
Was that a mainstream school or special school?
No, it was a mainstream school with resource unit.
Right. Okay.
It was good until they swapped heads of unit, and it was it was a very dark time, shall we say. But this one, they're not just trying to teach the person maths and English. They do cooking in there. They're trying to teach them life skills. It just is. I can't say how good they are, because they also let them be at their own age. Because with autism, I think you swing constantly. You're not one age all the time. You will swing from a 2-year-old to a 20-year-old. Yeah,
you're absolutely right, because I feel like that as well, because the chronological age is not necessarily the developmental age, but you're right, they can swing one way. Sometimes they're really grown up, aren't they? And then other times they regress back as well. And depending on good days and bad days and all of that.
And that school is brilliant. I mean, it's great to see a secondary school with a climbing frame.
Yeah.
Play toy, not play things.
Yeah.
Because they need that.
Yeah, they do. And it's good for their sensory processing disorder as well.
And they were allowed, it's just, I mean, he's just done, they've made our very hard, sad child into he's working his socks off. I mean, he's not walking a picnic, or it's not easy still, but it's...
You can see light at the end of the tunnel now.
We just have to keep working hard.
Yeah.
We're never going to stop working hard.
Of course, yeah.
He still has his issues. We still have to do things a very special way. He needs a lot of support.
But you can chill out a little bit with the understanding that he's in a place that's got his best interests at heart.
Because we do all this work, we can keep him safe.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, thank you. And so I've met you here at the Freedom Family Holidays, and you've been coming here since 2011, haven't you?
Yeah.
And you said there's been moments where Will's really struggled with being here, and you haven't pushed him, and you've always said it's up to him whether he wants to come or not. And sometimes he's always wanted to come, but sometimes it's been a struggle for him because with the social anxiety and you know with your anxiety as well at times, because you've had your own personal roller coaster.
I have my
as
own
well.
roller coaster.
Yeah,
So,
but he's loving it now, isn't he?
And this is brilliant about this place because they can be all themselves.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful to watch. On the first night, I think it was 6 15-year-old boys, all with autism, all at different levels of autism, sitting with two children who are both neuro-typical because they're siblings, talking. It was a very interesting conversation, shall we say, but it was wonderful, and that is what is wonderful to watch, because here he isn't scared of anyone looking at him.
Yeah.
Because
there's a lot of acceptance, there's no judging anybody else.
No.
Everyone understands each other.
Yeah. And it's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, I'll certainly be coming back every year, and it's just been such a pleasure to meet yourself and your family and all the other wonderful families here, because Iggy feels really accepted here, and Iggy loves the freedom as well.
Yeah.
So it's really important, isn't it?
Yeah, Will just goes in the woods.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's got some great spaces to just get
But
away
they're
from
safe.
it all, and then they can regroup when they're ready.
Very good, safe. It's a very safe space.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you so much. You've been absolutely wonderful, and like I say, it's been an absolute pleasure. And I'm so glad that you're starting to like yourself, because you really are a good guy.
Thank you.
And that's a compliment, but take it.
I will try. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin.
Thanks.
Thank you for taking the time to join me today. To find out more about what I do, visit www.specialworldtraining.com and follow us on our Facebook page, Special World Training, Instagram and LinkedIn. I believe knowledge is power and strength is in numbers. And if more people get involved in our special world, we can all make our world a better place. Join me next week for more amazing stories from the good, the bad and the ugly.